All right. So since this week is Hanukkah, and Hanukkah, we all know one of the famous stories of Hanukkah is the story with the elephant. That one of the Maccabees went and there was one of the battles. The elephants came, and he thought that it was he thought it was Antiochus himself, and he went and he stabbed and he killed the elephant. But at the same time, he died himself, and afterwards it was found out that it wasn't really Antiochus, v'chulu v'chulu. So upon him, we're going to talk about the elephant, not about that story, about different things in Chazal, where Chazal mentioned things about elephant, and we'll connect it to different inyanim of what the Mada says, like we do in the past also. So there's 5 general topics we're going to talk about. In a dream, and then the equal. Equal means digestion system. Kenyan means the acquiring of a pill. And shinayim is the teeth or the tusks of an elephant. And then the shira, the song of an elephant, we'll explain that as we get to it. So the first things are regarding having a dream about a pill, a dream about an elephant. So the Gemara in Brachos talks about having a dream and what dreams mean, which is also connected to Parshas HaShavua, Parshas HaYeshiv, all about the dreams. So the Gemara over there says, Haroya pil b'chaloim, if you see an elephant in a dream, plo'is nasulo, you should know that miracles are going to happen to you. The Gemara continues, pilim, if you see more than one elephant, a number of elephants, pile plo'is nasuloi, not a miracle, but wonderful miracles are going to happen to you. The Gemara then continues and asks, V'hatanya, the Braisa was taught, Kol minei chayis yofin lachaloim, all types of animals, if you see them in a dream, it's good. It's a good sign that good things will happen to you. Chutz min apilu min akoif. Besides an elephant and a koif is a monkey. So the Gemara asks, it contradicts itself. A moment ago we said seeing elephants is a good thing. Then in the Braisa it says seeing elephants is a bad sign. And for the Gemara, loy kashya, hadim misarig, hadaloy misarig. If it's misarig, it's one thing, loy misarig something else. What does that mean? What does misarig and loy misarig mean? So says Rashi, the misarig means sheyesh loy ukov al gabov, then yof. If it has some kind of saddle on the elephant, that's when it's a good sign. So if you see this picture now, you should engrave it in your mind, and hopefully you'll dream about it, and that'll be a good simon for you. And if you try to multiply this picture by 2, you'll end up having pilim. So you'll have pile plois, according to what the Gemara says, because once it has a saddle on it, that's a good simon. And the Mefarshim have explained that when there's a saddle, it means that it's contained, meaning an elephant is very powerful, as we know. And the so the power, if it's harnessed, if it's kivyachol contained, then it can be used in the right way. But if it's slozen, if it's all over the place, it's not contained, then it could be, like what I said before, it could be a bad thing. So this is what the Gemara says, Pshat and Rashi, regarding the pill. So there's a sikh of the Rebbe, where the Rebbe explains a bit more what's the word of pill. So the Rebbe says the word pill is similar to the word pella. So now the Rebbe says the simple pshat. Like, what's Hakadas Bora? What's the reason behind it that when you see a peel, it's a simon for a pella? But the Rebbe says the simple pshat is since a peel is the same, almost the same letters as pella, so there's a shaykh's bename. So if Hashem is showing you a peel in your dream, so that means that Hashem is showing you're going to have an union of pella. And the Rebbe adds that the peel is not stam the letter of pay, it also has the lamed as well. So it adds more. And also it connects to the union of plois. And that's why pilim, which is more pel, you see more pay lameds, you'll have pile plois, like the Gemara says. And the Rebbe teaches pile plois means ribui bekamus, gam ribui beichus. Meaning if you see many elephants, the choyre, they all have to have the saddles on them. So then you'll have, it's a simmer, you're going to have sai a lot of miracles, and sai the miracles will be a higher level of miracles, more intense miracles. And the Rebbe continues weiter and he says another reason why when you see a pill, it's a simon for miracles, because bepashtus it's a balchai mufla shemishunin memareyan v'oid shepilu me'abalachai magdelim begashmis. He says, besides the fact, the second thing the Rebbe says, that elephants are from the largest animals, in addition to that, the Rebbe says they're also different. They have a different shape. Besides the fact that they're huge, the proportion of their ears and their nose and their tusks are not, you don't have that in other animals. So b'meila, that makes it a shinui. So a shinui is like a ness, a miracle is different. So b'meila, the Rebbe basically is telling us over here 3 reasons why when you see a pil, is it a simon for a miracle? Sai because the letters of pei lamed are pella, and sai because it's a different type of animal, and sai because it's a very big animal. But the Rebbe's explanations don't connect necessarily to what the Gemara says about that has to be saddled. But that we explained before, that the Hasbara Bepashtus is that if all these special things about it, if it's not contained, then Rahman al-Islam, when a power is too intense and not in the right direction, it can cause terrible things. So Koponim, this is the Sikum Advarim regarding seeing seeing an elephant in a dream, elephants in dreams. This is the Hasbara Advarim, why it's like that. The second conversation will be about the ikul shel pil. Ikul means the digestion system, and as we'll see, the Gemara has an interesting conversation about it, and we'll see afterwards what it results today as well. So the Gemara Menachos Tav Samach Tes Amud Aleph fragt the Gemara Boy Rami Bar Chama. Rami Bar Chama asked, Pil shabola kfifa mitzris ve'kiyo derech beis harei ma'u. An elephant that swallows a wicker basket. The mitzris, besides meaning Mitzrayim, can also mean the tzari dekel, which is what they have on the branches of a palm tree, which just like we make it for lulav. So it's in Chabad we just make the rings, but as I'm sure you guys know, that in the Welt they have those called the koishalach, which they take these branches and they fold it up and they make a whole fancy thing out of it. So similarly, people would make different types of baskets out of what we call today wicker baskets. So what happens if the elephant swallowed it and then heikia, the word heikia usually means throwing up. But here it means it made it out the backside, meaning that it made number 2. So remember the elephant ate a wicker basket, and now it came out in his poop, and now the shaila is, what's the halacha regarding this wicker basket? So the Gemara says, what do you mean what's the halacha? What's your question? Lamai. So the Gemara says the discussion will be regarding tumah. The Gemara says, the question would be, if you have a keli which is tameh, so you have to make it tahir, so you put it in a mikveh. But sometimes there's an option, instead of putting it into a mikveh, you can break the kli, and once it's broken, it also becomes tahir. So the Gemara says, if your question is that if the elephant swallows a tummy wicker basket, and then it makes in the back, and now it comes out, if it's not going to be tummy, so the Gemara says for sure it's still going to be tummy. Because Tanina, we learned in a Braisa, any kli can become a kabel tumah b'machshava. For a kli to change it to become not tummy, it has to be b'shinui maisa. So when the wicker basket comes out of the elephant, it has the same tzura. Maybe it's a bit dirtier, it's a bit squashed, but in general it's the same tzura, and therefore for sure it's not going to become tahir. It'll remain the same. So Mela, what's your question? And for the Gemara, the bola hutzin v'avdinu kvifa mitzvus. We're talking about a case where the elephant swallowed either blades of grass or branches that are shaykh to make from them wicker baskets, and he made them out the backside. And now comes the worker and he takes these pieces and he makes them into a basket. So what's the shaila? The shaila is mi have a ikul. If we consider that these branches were digested in the elephant system, havele kiklei gloli mikiklei adama. In such a case, they're considered klei glolim or klei adama. They're not mekabel tuma. The Amar Mar klei avonim u klei glolim u klei adama in mekabel tuma loy midivrei Torah veloy midivrei sefer. If you have a keli made out of stone or a keli made out of glolim, glolim means feces when an animal makes, no, that's called glolim, or out of earth. So the Gemara says it's not makabel tumah. Archaeologists still today, they when they do research, a lot of times in their diggings they find houses full of stone utensils. So a lot of them explain the reason why there were so many stone utensils in Israel in the past was because the Yidden were careful about tumah v'tara. So if it's a utensil made out of stone, there's no problems. So if they would have clay glolim and clay adama, obviously over time that would disintegrate and you wouldn't have it anymore. Today you can't find it. But in the Gemara's times, the Gemara is saying that's not makabel tumah. So the Gemara's question is, if you take proper glolim of the animal and then you shape that into kalim, it's not makabel tumah. But here we're talking about branches or these hutzin, these leaves or something, which the animal digested. So now the question is, since it went through its system, did it change status? Till now it was a piece of wood, which is makabel tumah. Grass is makabel tumah, if it's a kli'etz. But now that it was through the animal's stomach, so did it change now? That now it's considered glolim. Or maybe it's not equal. So the Gemara doesn't have an answer. The Gemara remains by a teku, as we'll say later with the Rambam pastas. But it's interesting, why did the Gemara, out of all animals, choose the African elephant? A simple answer can be, because an elephant is larger, so it can handle more, and it could make more. But really, that was according to the first half a minute, that we're talking about a proper keli. But if we're talking about branches, all animals, many animals, all the domestic, all the behemoths, a lot of them eat grass, or what they call the herbivores, right? Animals that just eat grass and branches. So first after the elephant. So it's interesting to point out that science has found out that elephants only digest and make good use of 40% of its intake. Which means that when the elephant eats something, so only 40% of what it eats ends up getting included in its body, but 60% of the food goes, whatever it ate, goes out. And that's why, since most of the nutrients of the elephant food remains in the food that it ate, so the dung is rich in nutrients and solid food matter. Ad kedei kach that there are industries of people that they use the elephant's dung for different things. Which different things? So one thing is, in the picture you see over here, paper made out of elephant dung. This was paper or toilet paper or paper for writing on. So obviously all these things sound very gross l'chatchila. But if you're a tourist and looking for something interesting, it can be very geschmack. Look what I have. It's a special piece of paper. Look what it's made out of. Now if you have a good friend, you want to make a play joke on him, so you send him a special paper and tell him this paper is very good. It tastes very good. And you can do all these cool ideas to your good friends. But I'll call that's an industry that they have over there. A second thing, which is natural, the Eibishter arranged, is that there are animals that, since they know that the feces is another word for dung or poop or number two, so there are actually animals that come and they eat what the elephants make. And so it says, this is an article that I'm quoting from is from beetles and birds, but in the picture you see even monkeys sometimes will go and take the feces, the dung of the elephant, and will eat it because the food over there wasn't really completely digested, and therefore for them it's still edible food and it's all contained in one place. Instead of going around and collecting from Alazite, and here it's all put together in a cake for them, so it's a lot more geschmack for them. A third thing what's used, and this is like a recent discovery, this is just a picture just to see if you want to understand how the insides go, then you'll understand over here that the stomach, just I'll highlight it over here, the stomach of the elephant is the elephant very, very small. It's not myelogata, so it's very, very tight. It's not, you don't have all everything else. This is it goes on over here and then comes out afterwards, but it's a very small amount. So what's the third thing? I'm sorry, I'm skipping. This is the psak of the Rambam. The Rambam's psak is pil shabala hutzin ve'kiyan derech harei ha'isam and kelim harei and sofik imem kigleglalim bekleis kshayu. The Rambam says taka sofik, and therefore the pasha sofik deraisa lechumra, sofik derabanu lekula, or sofik b'rishus harabim is tahir, whatever the rules of sofik would be. But if it's a proper kfifa, if it's a proper keli that the elephant swallowed, then it's betumas. This is the third. The third thing is like this. There's something called black ivory coffee. And the way they make this coffee is, there's a special place in Thailand where they have a herd of elephants, and they feed the elephants coffee beans, and after the elephants finish eating, they make, and then the workers come and they sift through all whatever the elephants made. For Shesach, they don't eat only coffee, they eat many other foods as well. And then they take out these special beans, and then they clean them, and then they rinse them, and they claim that this type of coffee is the best coffee in the world. They say because the elephant system is digested in such a kind of way that even though we said before that only 60% of it comes out, but it says the pashas is coming out the way it went in, but no, epicent effect it has, and therefore it's a better type of coffee. They actually do it to other animals as well. I think some kind of monkeys or cats, whatever, but the elephants is the most famous one. That for elephants, they should have a whole system, a whole seder of buying this black ivory coffee. There's a whole company, you can buy it, and all that. The only problem is that it's very, very expensive. Could be $85 for basically 2 cups of coffee. And with all the milas of the special, how it is, obviously most people are not going to do that, only for the fun of it once in a while. The shaila for us will be if it's kosher or not. So there isn't really clarity. As far as I know, there's no hechsher on it. But the Mitzvah Svara, according to the Rambam, it's for sure kosher, because according to the Rambam, either way, meaning if it's not digested by the elephant, then it was a coffee bean before, it's a coffee bean after, so it's the same thing, it makes no difference. And if you want to say that the elephant contributed something, and therefore it's part of the elephants are not kosher, but Mitzvah Sheni, the Rambam paskins, that any kind of dung, any kind of meiraglayim or tsoya of any animal is completely kosher, according to the Rambam. So if it's pure coffee, then it's pure coffee. If it's dung, then it's weiter kosher. But according to other paiskim, when an animal makes, and if it comes out, it's edible, then there's a whole shaila if it's kosher or not. Which, by the way, many of you guys eat maikanaiks. So maikanaiks, one of the main ingredients, or not main ingredients, one of the ingredients that give it a shine is called confectioner's glaze. Confectioner's glaze is basically the poop of a certain bug, of a certain insect, and that's why the Hamish Shedim, you're not going to find confectioner's glaze in say Weissmandel's hechsher or Badat, say the Charedis, you're not going to find it. The OU gives the hechsher. Okay, gives the hechsher, but other companies, the more strict hechsherim won't give on that, because they say that if it comes out, even though right now this substance that comes out of the insects is not really edible, but they say that there's placement that say that it is also. So therefore you can't. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein says that it's mutter. So according to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, for sure the black ivory coffee will also be kosher, no problem. According to those that are machmer, not to eat the confectioner's glaze, they might tell you not to eat this coffee, but even then might be matir more, because over here it's mamish the same coffee being like before, and the pu'ula that the elephant does, if it's taka, I mean people claim that it's taka like that. Most people obviously don't want to drink it, it grosses them out. But people that are ready to take the risk will tell you that its taka tastes different, and if so, the elephant did give a pu'ula. So the made it's svara to say that it's that it's treif. That's not kosher, but not like treif is a big word. That you should be machmer, not that. The next discussion will be about Kenyan pill. If anybody wants to buy an elephant. So what's the discussion about buying an elephant? So there's a Mishnah in Kiddushin. The Mishnah talks about how you do kinyonim. As we know, kinyonim is a big topic in the Zikin, meaning when you buy something, so how does the transfer of ownership happen? If I own something and you want to buy it from me, so obviously money is the most important factor as far as me and you are concerned. But according to as far as halach is concerned, there has to be a kinyan. A kinyan that through the kinyan either you pick it up or you make a meshicha, somehow it becomes yours. So how is when it comes to there's halachas regarding a karka, regarding a eved, and regarding metaltalin, ishaniknis, everything has its own halachas. So when it comes to behemoths, there's behema daka and behema gasa. Behema daka means like a sheep and a goat, which anybody can lift and pick up. A behema gasa means a cow. A cow's a lot harder, it can be a lot heavier. So the Gemara brings that afterwards. A Braisa, Rabbi Shimon Omer, zu v'zu b'hagboha. The only way to acquire a behema gasa for the ownership, the transfer, is only bagbo, by actually lifting it. So the Gemara says, Maskif la Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef attacks this word and he says, Ela meyato pil Rabbi Shimon v'mayikna. According to Rabbi Shimon, nobody can lift an elephant. There's no such thing. Even the strongest bach in yeshiva, and even if you have 5 bachim getting together, no one can actually lift an elephant. So according to Rabbi Shimon, what's the pshat? How can there be such a thing? How can Torah say that the only way to acquire something is in a way that's not realistic? There must be an option to be koined. So the Gemara answers. The Gemara says a number of answers. The first answer the Gemara says, I don't know. Rabbi Zeira Omar.
There's something going on.
Okay, fine. Rabbi Zeira says, Mevi arba kelim umanichon tachas ragla. Rabbi Zeira says the way to makbo, lifting, doesn't necessarily mean you mamish pick it up like a picture we saw before, which is obviously not realistic. Rather, it means you bring 4 kelim and you put the kelim on the ground, and then the elephant walks up on top of the kelim, and once you were the cause for the elephant to be above the ground, so now you're the one that you made the kinyan. So if I want to buy your elephant from you, I bring my kelim and I coax the elephant to walk onto them, and then it becomes mine. That's the Gemara's first answer, how Hagbah is passing. Then the Gemara brings a second answer. Gemara says, Inami bechaviles moiris, bundles of branches. What does that mean? So Rashi says the same thing. Chaviles moiris is just like the kelim. You bring bundles of branches which are gvoim min ha'aretz shloisha tvachim, 3 tvachim off the ground, umelichin aleim, and you make the elephant walk upon them. The Agbah, Shleisha Tvachim Agboy, the Nafka limited. The Slavud, once it's about 3 Tvachim, it's not Lavud anymore, and now already it's considered Yom Agbiyah. So obviously, if you do that, you have to have, the branches have to be very, very thick branches, because an elephant's going to walk on a branch, a few branches together, even though you made it 3 Tvachim, it'll be a Tefach again, or a half a Tefach, it's going to crush it. So it has to be obviously very big, heavy branches that are thick enough to hold the weight of the elephant. But basically what Rashi is saying is the same thing that with the first answer of Caleb. However, then we have a Tosfos. Tosfos says, if you're saying that it's the same svara like before, Vasepes Chaviles Moiris, say Avonim, Eitzim, anything else, the same idea. What's the second answer? The same answer as the first answer. And for Tosfos to Mefarish Rav Mishulam said, the Lahachi Nokat Chaviles Moiris. The Fi Shehein Michael Pil. Chaviles Moiris is a certain type of branch, which is the food of the elephant. Kedamrina Perik Mefani, the Gemara says, Shabbos, Achuch of Ches, which we learned this year. Because you're allowed to, if a person owns an elephant, or some people say even if you don't own an elephant, it's not muktzeh, because it's just like you're allowed to carry food for animals, you can carry food for the elephant. And it says Rabbi Mishulam, so what we're supposed to do is umagbin lepil chaviles moiris lemaila v'ukoifet umagbias atzim in hades v'oichla. So it says Rabbi Mishulam, what you do over here is is you're supposed to bring you bring the branches and you cause the elephant to jump, just like when you have any kind of animal that you tease it and it goes after you. So the same thing you can do over here is for the elephant. You just pick it up and it jumps. In all these pictures you see elephants jumping. Obviously all these pictures are not real. Why couldn't I get a simple picture of elephants jumping? Because there's no such thing as elephants jumping. This is one of the big questions that the zoologists, scientists that study this Tosfos, they don't understand. There's no such thing. An elephant can't jump. As far as our scientists have seen, elephants cannot jump. There's a big kash on Tosfos. What's the pshat koifetz? So there's a number of answers that people want to say. One answer is we're talking about baby elephants. And baby elephants, since they're climbing all over the place, first of all, they might, as they're jumping over, it's considered like a shtickle jumping. He's off the ground completely. Or sometimes a baby elephant can pick himself up. And normally we're talking about a baby elephant. That's one answer people want to say. Second answer people want to say is Hagboa b'miktsas. There are elephants, but they're trained in circuses. But sometimes they're in the wild as well, that they'll on their own suddenly pick up their two front feet and to reach food higher up, mamish like that, like Tosfos said. So b'meila, even though it's not completely off the ground, Tosfos said koifetz, jumping up. So you want to say sometimes lifting up his two front legs is also considered a shtickle koifetz, and that this way you're also being doing the same pu'ula of being magbiya it, and that's what the Gemara says. Another svara might be that if you cause it to run. Now when animals run, some animals when they run all 4 feet are off the ground. But elephants, even when they're running, there's always going to be a foot on the ground, maybe even 2 feet on the ground. But maybe that's also considered koifetz. Koifetz means jumping, so maybe running, that's another way, another svara. Another answer that I thought of is that maybe in the past there was something called mammoths. A mammoth was an elephant that had the fur on it. And nobody knows where they were, if they were, all these kind of things. So I had a svara that I said maybe that mammoths were able to jump, and that's what the elephants the Gemara is talking about. So I sent an email to a person that has a big cock in these things, and he told me that's a crazy idea. It makes no sense. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. Obviously, first of all, mammoths didn't exist in times of Gemara already then it was extinct. And besides that, mammoths couldn't jump either. B'meila, he doesn't like that svara, but I like this svara. B'meila, when Mashiach comes, we'll be able to ask those that saw mammoths if they actually were there, if they ever saw them jump, and we'll have an answer for the question on Tosfos. The next discussion is regarding Shein Hapil. Shein Hapil is the elephant's teeth or tusks. So it's called ivory, and it has a very special shape. And you look at it, you see crisscross lines that form series of diamond shapes. It's a very special kind of material that's people use for art. And therefore, Mazza? I pressed the wrong thing. And therefore, in Asia, where the elephants are there, you can pay or you can sell ivory ivory is another word for the elephant teeth, for the shein, $1,500 per pound. A lot of money. And over there, people use it. You see in the background over there a statue or whatever, on the left side or the right side, different statues that people use for it. So that's also why elephants are in danger all the time, because people are constantly killing them to get their tusks, and for Seitzach, it's a lot of money. So the Shein Appeal is a very special thing for artists, for for sculptures, that people use all the time, in the past as well. In Yiddishkeit, we have in Sefer Melachim, one of the richest kings in the world, that the Gemara brings one of the few kings that was a ruler of the entire world, was Achav. So in Navi it says the whole life of Achav, and at the end of his life, the Navi says, "V'yeser divrei Achav," the rest of what happened in Achav's life, the kol asher asa, whatever he did, ubeis hashein asher bana, and the house of shein of teeth that he built, the kol ha'adim asher bana, and all the cities that he built, halayim ksuvim al sefer divrei hayomim l'malchi Yisrael. It's all written in Sefer Divrei Hayom. There's different chronicles that have all the stories. So you hear the Torah is telling us, the Navi is telling us that Achav built a beis hashein. Which a pashtus, he wasn't using human teeth or any teeth of any other animal. The pashtus he was so rich. The pashtus, he was able to afford all this ivory, all this elephant tusks, and that's how he built it. So archaeologists, these are pictures that archaeologists claim to find. That they claim this is the palace of Achav of the Beis Hashem. And in the next picture, you see over here actually pieces. That these pieces that they found, they claim it's made out of elephant tusks, out of ivory, out of the Beis Hashem, which supposedly this is what Achav actually used for his palace. Another famous place where we have this Indian of Shein, the ivory tusks, is what the pasuk says about Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech built a kisei Shein Godel, a big throne made out of ivory. Vayitzapeyu zav mufaz, and he coated it, he plated it with gold. And this is the famous throne of Shlomo HaMelech. And the pasuk describes it by saying, Sheil Shmailis Lakisei. It had 6 steps going up to the throne. V'roish Ogel Lakisei Mi'acharov, and a round back behind the kisei. V'yadish mizeh u'mizeh, and there were handles on the side of it. El mokim hasheves, where you sit. U'shnayim aroyes emdim eitzel hayodos, and there's lines on the side. And the pasuk says all the other lines that were there. Now there's a famous medrash about it, and it makes the medrash makes it look different. Not the way it's in the in the pasuk. It said it that there's 12 lions, 6 on each side. But in the picture, so you see over here different animals, not lions. And at the bottom is a crocodile. There's a whole bunch of different things that were going on over there. And that's based on what it's in a medrash, it's called Targum Sheni. We're coming up now to, not we're coming up, it's not Chanukah, but Purim, Mitzvah Hashem and Megillas Esther. So there's something called a Targum Sheni. A Targum Sheni is a translation of Megillas Esther with a lot of things that were added. And over there, in the beginning of the Megillah, it talks about Achashverosh's feast on his throne. So it says that he had the throne of Shlomo HaMelech. So over there in Targum Sheni, it describes it very differently. So I'm not sure who this person is, but someone put together a very cute thing. And he made a video, Kivyachol, of how it looked. And he made it very, I would appreciate, it says so much more things that happened. That a person walked up and there were springs and things were happening and the lions, animals were screaming at each other. But this guy, he invested a lot to make it look like this, but he didn't do any more than that. But this is one view, and then there's another view that he did, a bit better. This one you can see Kivyachol actually going inside. Officially, as he walked up, the throne was delivered to him by an eagle and a dove. A lot of things going on over there. When Mashiach comes, we're going to see this. It'll be very cool. Officially, again, this is all made out of shane, out of ivory, just covered with gold. Shlomo HaMelech's Muchashav, they came to Achashverosh, and that's all the stories that happen with it. These are other pictures that people randomly have, that people make this. The one on the left is actually more appropriate according to what the Psukim say, because you have 12 on each side. Even though the was 6 on each side, but it's 12 only lines, nothing else. This one is Shalach Manas, somebody once sent, which also a design that they had from it, all regarding this. Another thing about the ivory tusks in Sefer HaZichronos, in the volume 2, page 224, in this print of the picture on the thing. So it says over there. So actually, the way it's printed in Sefer HaZichronos, they write ebony, E-B-O-N-Y, which is really a type of wood. But in the original Yiddish, it says that we're talking about over here about the Maharal's grandson. The Maharal's grandson, who was the or maybe 3 times great grandfather of the Alter Rebbe, that he was a gifted artist. And it has over there, he was an artist and a sefer, and he wrote a sefer Torah which was so tiny that in order to read from it, you needed a magnifying glass, even though it was 100% kosher. So it describes what he did over there, tremendous beautiful things of art that were all miniature, and it says that he took of elephant tooth, of ivory, and he carved from that a miniature Aron Kodesh, and he put a Sefer Torah inside that, and that in Aron Kodesh was inside a piece of wood. There's mamish like a whole bunch of beautiful things. So it's an interesting thing that even then people are, to me it's a bit strange, because he lived in Prague or Posen, wherever he was over there. I don't know that there were elephants in Europe, but somehow I guess he was able to manage. Maybe he paid $1,500 a pound, whatever it was, and he got a piece of ivory shipped to him, and he carved it out. Again, in the original Yiddish it says elephant tooth, but in the new one they translated it to ebony, which is a type of wood. And next thing is regarding Shir Shel Pil. Shir Shel Pil. So there's a medrash called Perek Shira. Perek Shira is a medrash that's from Chazal, and over there it says that all the animals they sing to Hashem. So there's different explanations if the animals themselves are singing to Hashem, or the animal's behavior causes us to sing to Hashem about different things, or that there are malachim that sing to Hashem, but it has a whole list of every animal, what it sings to Hashem, what's its shira. So again, either the animal is saying this pasuk, or when we see this animal, it inspires us to say the pasuk, or the malach of the animal says this pasuk. So when it comes to Pil, so the Medrash says that the Pil Omer, Ma Godlu Ma'asecha Hashem, Ma'oid Amko Machshavesach. So obviously it means that when you see the Pil, again according to the simple pshat, you see the greatness of the Eibusher. He creates such huge creations, and also Amko Machshavesach. That's an interesting fact. As far as I know, the largest elephant that was ever recorded was, and it's blocked over here, but it's 1975, I think, and it weighed about 24,000 pounds. All the Bachim and Yeshiva together, L'chayra, the Sif Tanzal together, would still not get to 24,000 pounds, right? Anybody? Cheshbonus? 100 bachim. The average bachim weighs how much?
150, 230.
Oh, so maybe it will. No, it'll be 10,000 pounds. Even if every bachim is 200 pounds, 100 times 200 is only is still 20,000. All the bachim in yeshiva together wouldn't weigh as much as this elephant. You imagine?
That's a real photo?
No, it's not the photo of that elephant. This is a random photo. That elephant, there's no picture of it. But that's what they claim that they found a long time ago, 1970s.
There's no picture of 97?
No. Another thing is regarding the elephants are one of the smartest animals. Many stories of the smartness of animals, painting, teaching them how to paint, recognizing people. 30, 40 years later, they recognize their friends, recognize people. Stories of a kid at a circus that was cruel to an elephant, and then 40 years later, he came to that same circus, and then the elephant recognized him and started charging at him. Many things about it. So it says the elephants are very smart. They have a huge brain. It says they have a third as many neurons, whatever, that's parts of the brain, more than humans, and they're again, numerous stories, and there's also videos showing how they figure things out, the mamish in a way, very, not human-like, obviously, they're animals at the end of the day, but this is what the pasuk says, when you study an elephant, so you see his machshavas, so weiter, you understand the greatness of the Eibishter, how he creates for us all these machshavas, all these special things.
Rabbi, did you have a video